Welcome back to the bar, guys. It is after hours here, but the bar is always open for you. And today I would like to talk to you guys about one of the most impactful speeches in Frederick Douglass's career, at least in my opinion. And that is the speech where it is, what is the 4th of July to a slave? And one of the reasons why this is perhaps one of the most impactful speeches in his career is because it painted America as the ideal, but it wasn't living up to it. And I make this distinction because for Frederick Douglass, he loved what America represented in its ideal, but in its reality, it was failing on so many different fronts. And when I read through this entire speech, I saw his critique of America as it was, and it was scathing. He calls out the founders in saying that not only have you failed in the ideal that you have set up, but the entire country you have made for yourselves, and for you to have even claimed this ideal is folly, since this institution of slavery remained. He then goes into the church and he says, the church, through all of your sacraments, through all of your ideals, through all of your piousness, you too have failed because you continue to perpetuate and defend this evil. Then we move in again to the Constitution, the very law of the land. And he says that the Constitution itself fails in regard to uphold the ideal of what the founders thought they had set out by maintaining this intrinsic evil of slavery. And even despite all of these just scathing criticisms of the country, he begins his speech both from hope and then he ends it with hope. And it's one of the most impactful parts, I think, from that speech. A lot of people remember the particular quote where he speaks, what is the 4th of July to a slave? And then he goes through how it is a horrible experience, that it is a mockery of freedom, that it is an institution, that the institution of slavery taints the whole vision of what America purports to be, and that anyone's pride, therefore, in it is incorrect because they therefore take pride in this evil. And I think it's also important for us to know that the bookends of his speech, because Douglass, although he rips right into the American ideal, he also recognizes it as the ideal. And that he says that it is a message of hope that he wants to leave everyone with. In regard to the American ideal is what we're shooting towards. That there is a promissory note that we would like to cash in. We haven't cashed in on it yet. Our work is not done. America can be what the founders said it would be. It is not right now. As it continues, should slavery continue, then all of his criticisms remain valid. But if America gets rid of this intrinsic evil, then we are able to heighten ourselves and be able to cash in on the promissory notes of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. He even states in that speech that the Constitution is, in his opinion, the right and just law, as it was explained to him by many of his contemporaries who were within the legal system. But he understood that as long as slavery stands and continues to perpetuate its evil throughout the land, the Constitution, throughout all of its goodness that it has been built into its architecture, it cannot stand for it as long as the evil decays it from within. It's an incredible speech. I highly recommend anybody who is interested to go out and to read it through and through, because the institution of slavery is an intrinsic evil. And Douglass was one of the most profound speakers against it. But he said that this country is not without salvation, that the country's time has not run out. And thank God that he saw the hope, because finally, after a bloody civil war, we were able to purge that sin from the land. And yeah, we have a lot of healing to go from there. We have much more work to go. We will continue to evolve as a society to work out our intrinsic evils. But it was beautiful to see that Frederick Douglass recognized that evil will not last forever, and that a country's ideals can be achieved, and that he leaves us with a message of hope.